from the way she looked at me. Dun, 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 dun. What is going on, guys? Good morning. Good morning. Just waiting on PCE here.
This is the one the Fed prefers to gauge inflation, and the PCE, that data set to be released right in about a half of a minute from now. The futures are all in the red, but nothing too major at this point. The Treasury market, which is, I don't know if I'd call it range.
Who is this guy? Bring out Rick Santelli.
So it's at 433. We got the Rickster Santelli standing by at the CME in Chicago. I didn't see what the Cubs did yesterday, but we can talk about that later. What's going on, Rick?
Well, you know, there's a lot of big numbers in the rearview mirror on spending and income that were really shocking last month. So we want to see if we reverse some of these trends. And it's hitting the wires, Joe. February income, spending, and PCE. Expecting the income number to be up about 0.5%, maybe up 0.4, double that, up 0.8, and up to now, no revisions yet. That follows up 0.9. You know, up 0.9 last month was 1-year high. Let's add in 0.8. This is solid back to back. Now, if we look at the spending side, last month at -0.2, that was the first negative number in 2 years. It was the biggest negative in drop in spending in 4 years, but we reversed it to some extent, up 0.4, about as expected. And if we look at real spending adjusted for inflation, last month, -0.5%. That was the first negative in a year, the biggest drop in 4 years, but yet we reversed that, but in a smaller way. Adjusted for inflation, up 0.1, up 0.1. And now let's take a look at the PCEs. We'll start out month over month, expected to be up 0.3, comes out at 0.3. If you look at year over year, expected 2.5, it comes out at 2.5. If we look at the core now on a month over month, expected up 0.3, a little warmer, up 0.4. That would be the warmest going back to, well, I'm going to have to go. That'll be the warmest basically in a year, January of 24. And finally, if we look at core, year over year, expected 2.7. It's a 10th warmer as well. 2.8. 2.8 will be the warmest going back to, well, the end of last year we were 2.86. So this one remains sticky. Revisions coming in now. Okay, I'm going to go slowly here. The income goes from 0.9 up to 0.7 last month. The -0.2 on spending gets a little bigger, -0.3, but we reversed it. And -0.5% on the real spending number goes to -0.6. So we see that some of the takeaways from revisions were a little bit less on the positives, a little bit more on the negatives. But all in all, I think it's a pretty good report. Now, even though we had some slightly hotter PCE numbers, we see that yields are moving down. Now, 10-year yesterday had a 1-month high close going back to the 24th of February. Here we are right now hovering at 431. At 431, we're -5 basis points on the day, but we're still up 6 basis points on the week, and that's something to pay attention to, especially considering the steepening of the curve we're finally starting to see. We're back about 35 basis points, 10s to 2s. Joe, Becky, back to you.
Very good. All right. Thanks, Rick. Steve Leisman joins us now. He's muttering and shaking his head.
And all kinds of things here.
You know.
Look, this is emblematic of the problem the Fed has, I think, right? Which is that you're stuck, stagnant, actually even a little hot on the core side at 2.8. So you went, I'll give you the exact numbers of the tail of the tape here on core. 2.86 December, 2.66 January, and now 2.79 in February. So you went up, you went down, you're not making any progress.
Stalled.
And you have these tariffs coming down the pike, and that's really the problem. That's why that comment from Barkin, this is not just a regular kind of fog. This is a pull over and put on your hazards kind of fog is where we're at right now. I'm interested in the consumption numbers, whether or not there's been some pull forward. Our friend Phil LeBeau talking about the idea that maybe they're going to have strong car sales. Maybe that was people getting out there to buy cars ahead of time. Real consumption after adjusting for inflation, just 0.1%, and I couldn't find the savings rate because once again, guys, this may be emblematic of the caution you have out there. Income is outstripping consumption. It's a lot of times either the other way around or kind of flat. So I'm guessing the savings rate went up. I've got to find it here. Almost invariably when I do this, somebody writes into me. Personal savings was 4.6, which I think is down a little bit from where it was. Anyway, people, when they get concerned, when those sentiment numbers drop, that's what they might do, is they might save a little bit more. So that's where what we're looking at here and what the impact is. I've been surprised, Becky, about the polling on tariffs, how many people seem to know about it. You know, we do these polls on economic issues.
In the news cycle, it's talked about every day. The White House is weighing in on it just about every day, too.
Except for these things can be out there, and then we poll, and people are like, what are you talking about? They know about tariffs, and they seem to be changing their behavior based on it, you know? And then, you know, the president saying don't raise prices of your automobiles to the car companies, which is, I don't know how much of an effect that's going to have, but it'll be interesting to see how people behave in the face of these tariffs. They do seem to have a sense that this will be driving up their costs and not going the right way. The last NBC poll was not good for the president on the issue of inflation.
No, I wonder how much of that is because this is a population that has been so educated on inflation and has lived through inflation like we hadn't.
All right, so core PCE prices came in slightly higher. PCE prices came in as expected. I personally don't think that the inflation story matters a whole lot anymore. I think that inflation is just stalled. It isn't really going up or down. Obviously, prices are rising, but I mean, the inflation rate isn't really changing much anymore. And I think that the Fed, along with the bond market, along with the market, don't expect inflation to be that big of a deal. I think that the fear is more of an economic slowdown. Huang Lee, thank you so much for your donation. I think that the fear is an economic slowdown, i.e. a recession, right? So we have those Atlanta Fed GDP numbers showcasing that Q1 of 2025 may be negative. And they've never been wrong. I've looked back since they've been releasing those numbers since 2014. Every time that they projected a negative GDP, it's always come out negative. It's never come out positive. There have been times when they projected a positive GDP and it's come out negative, but never the other way around. So I think that the real fear for the market is not inflation at all. Now, I want to see in terms of price action which way this manipulates here, because, you know, obviously we're going to put in a data high and a data low, and then we're going to take one out and usually trade by the time the market opens, usually trade opposite of the manipulation. So in this case, you know, we're manipulating down, and we typically see then a counter trade to the other side. Now, because it's also a Friday, I would say that there is a chance the market is muted today, as in not plus or minus a whole lot. But because it's a Friday, I think we will see a pretty decent move. I don't think it's going to chop around all day. Trump's tariff adds more fuel to the fire. No, I don't think so. Because I wouldn't classify it as fuel to the fire. I would say it adds volatility. But I think that this April 2nd date, that's looked at as like D-Day or something, that's already baked into everybody's minds. So typically what happens if everyone is pricing in a certain event, typically what happens is you see either a muted day or a counter narrative trade, right? Like the Tesla thing. Everyone was talking about how bad Tesla was. And there was even a nationwide campaign to short it or whatever, when it was sitting here at 220-ish, and then, jumps up to almost 290. Same thing with the tariffs, right? If everybody's looking at that April 2nd date and they think that the market is going to go down, typically that's not what's going to happen. So, yeah, I think there would have to be some new information on April 2nd, and I just don't think we get that. So I'm waiting for the lows to get taken out. It would be awesome if, Kevin, appreciate your donation, man. Thank you. It would be awesome if ES takes out the low and NQ doesn't, giving us the divergence that we love to trade. I don't think we're heading to a recession either. I think it's possible. Yeah, certainly I think it's possible. Especially if Trump and Besant both aren't dismissing the idea at all. And it seems like sometimes, depending on what interview you catch them on, it seems like they're welcoming it, right? Calling it a much needed reset or whatever. I think a recession is possible. Yeah. And I don't think that they entirely don't want that. I think that if a recession brings down yields and hence brings down the Treasury's interest payments, for sure, I think they would welcome that, because I think that they would also welcome policies that would then institute hyper growth after a recession. You know what I mean? I appreciate you, Kevin. Yeah, what is interesting to me, and the reason that I said also that I don't think the market cares about inflation, even with one of the numbers, the core number is hotter by 10 basis points, you're getting a pretty big drop in the 10-year right now, 1.4% drop. Appreciate you, B-Mac. Thank you so much for donating. This is awesome. Usually people start donating when I send out a trade and they make money, but I love that we've already gotten 3 donations so early. So thank you guys. All right, let's see if ES can take out this low here. I'm going to put an alert at London low. It would be awesome if ES can take it out and NQ doesn't. Give me a mom joke and donation is inbound. Bro, if you're going to donate to charity, donate to charity. You don't need me to give you comic relief to donate to charity. It's not a donation to me. Troy, appreciate you. Daryl, man, thank you so much. I don't understand why prices will come down if everyone is willing to pay what they cost. What does that have to do with anything? Nobody's saying prices are going to come down. When the Fed tells you they want a 2% inflation rate, do you think that means they want prices to come down? A 2% inflation rate means prices are going up at 2% a year. No, nobody wants prices to come down. I mean, consumers want prices to come down, but no one in the top brass wants prices to come down. The Fed's own target is 2%, right? The U.S. system is built on constant growth, and you cannot have constant growth if you don't have a little bit of inflation. They figured this out a while ago, right? When you hear this 2% inflation rate, we want inflation at 2%. The reason that is because in a capitalist society, right, if you did not have a little bit of inflation, then people would not feel the urgency to spend. So if you know that there's that, you know, the price of cars and houses and whatnot, like if you know that they perpetually go up, even if it's ever so slightly at 2%, but on a macro scale, 2% on everybody's is a lot, right? That's just enough to move the needle to make sure that people aren't hoarding their money and they spend just enough to keep the economy moving at a perpetual pace. That's why the Fed's target is 2%. The Fed's target isn't negative prices. So, you saying, why would people expect prices to come down? I don't think anyone on the producer side or on the government side wants prices to come down. That's not the way our country works. Our country works on perpetual inflation. That's why when you have a job, a corporate job, when they give you a raise every year, aside from performance-based raises, right? When they give you a raise every year, they're giving you a raise based on inflation. So if the inflation rate is 3%, typically people will get a raise that's in line with inflation, which is kind of a scam because you're not really making more money if things cost just as much as the raise that you just got. But that's how the U.S. works, right? This is why a car 50 years ago was $5,000 and the average price of a car now is $50,000. Why do I feel like it'll go up later? I don't know. Why does any retail trader feel anything? It's just vibes. That's why most retail traders lose money. Because they're just trading on feelings. I feel like this is going to happen. One of them has to take out London low first, and then we go from there. Why is it making me sign into my prop account here? 1 second. 1 second while I type in my password. What the hell? Okay. I'm gonna guess your password is your birthday. It's your mom's birthday. That's what my password is. Which she told me you always forget, so you still wouldn't know what that is. Adam, thank you for your donation, bro. What do you mean by London low? I mean the low that was made during the London session. See, did you go to uni? As in university? Yeah, why? What does that have to do with anything? Jason, Okinawa, thank you for your donation, man. We do have slight divergence here. I would rather take out London low, but being that we're in a macro now, I don't know. I would rather take out London low. From a high time frame perspective, we're still in that daily gap here, that weekly opening gap from Monday. NQ is below it. ES is still in it. So ES definitely stronger. Market's been sideways for over 2 weeks now. It's kind of frustrating. Not if you know how to day trade. It's been awesome. This week has been an amazing day trading week. I mean, that's the benefit of knowing how to day trade, is that you don't need the market to move in any specific direction for you to bank. Greetings from Turkey. Marhaba. But yeah, I mean, from a stockholder's perspective, I can see how this is frustrating. But if all you're doing is just buying and holding stocks, I mean, you have no reason to look at the market every day, to be honest. Like, if I was just buying and holding stocks, what am I looking at the market for? I guess I would check in every now and again just for shits and giggles, or to see if there's any more opportunities. But if I'm just a buy and hold investor and I have no idea how to trade, what am I looking at the stock market for? MP3 Fitness, thank you for your donation. There's this guy's username called We Need to Talk. And he says, is we gonna do a PO3? Sounds like you need to change your name from We Need to Talk to I Need to Speak Properly. Is we gonna do a PO3? So far, this looks like a potential PO3, but I need a definitive liquidity sweep. Just got here. What came of the data? Just fucking Google it, bro. I can't repeat the data every time someone announces their entry into the chat. You can easily Google, what was the PCE data? I'm trying to find a trade, fam. I can't respond to questions that you can easily Google. Look, you could do this in Grok and say, what was the PCE inflation data today? Let's see what Grok says. Oh my God, bro. It spits out everything you've ever wanted to know. What? This is how this shit works? You don't have to go to the library and take your library card and ask a librarian where you can find publishings for the day on financial data. You could just type it in. Come on, bro. By the way, side note, I think Grok is way better than ChatGPT. I was having a conversation with it this morning. Like, I went down the rabbit hole about, well, I can't tell you because I get canceled, but I really wanted to know something very specific. And it responds to you like it's having a conversation. And then you ask it follow-up questions. And it will answer things in a very honest, conversational way using facts. It's really awesome. Are you going to buy or sell London opening time? Bro, London opened 7 hours ago. Unless you have a time machine, how in the F would I go back in time and trade London open? It's like asking me, are you going to make breakfast yesterday? Look, we have AI chats, okay? We have not yet developed a time machine. Take it easy, bro. Calm down. Kenan, I'll tell you off YouTube. Someone said the Greek market is on fire. Awesome. How's the liquidity? It's just you and 3 other people trading stocks on the Greek stock market. All right, if ES can take out London low right here, which I have an alert for, but I'm also staring right at it, 57.1150. And NQ doesn't, then I think we might set up a trade. Where am I at? In New York. Could you please discuss leverage ETFs? See, this is the type of shit I hate. Like what? You just want me to start from zero and just start talking about leverage ETFs? Do you have a specific question about leverage ETFs? People just be wanting story time. Next question from him. Can you please talk about whales? Just start talking about whales. All the facts you know about whales. I swear, man, YouTube comments and chat is a one-way ticket to the nut hut. It's like there's no way that these people are all adults. Like, I have better conversations with my nephew than some of the questions that I get. And he's 8. Massive earthquake in Asia. Yeah, I was reading that this morning, man. Hopefully the death toll is not crazy, but 7.7 is wild. And the one that happened in, I think it was Turkey and Syria a couple years back was 6.7, and that one killed over 50,000 people. All right, we're approaching London low on ES. London low just got snipped? No, not yet. We're staring right at it. It's that white line. Hello from Norway. What's going on, bro? Hafiz Omar Shafiq. Sounds like a very Norwegian name. Legendary Viking named Hafiz. Thank you for the NQ trade yesterday. Hell yeah, we killed the NQ yesterday. Are you using the paid version of Grok? No. It's free. All right, so ES just tagged London low. Just now. If you heard that beep, it was that. NQ didn't. Smoke detector? It does sound like that. You're right. When people don't replace the battery. That drives me crazy when someone's making a YouTube video and they're talking about something very interesting, but they're too lazy to replace the little D battery that's in their smoke detector. I'm like, man, I cannot take anyone seriously that's trying to talk about the JFK assassination, but every 2 seconds it beeps. He's not black, though. I have no idea what that's in reference to. Why don't you put ES and NQ on the same chart? I can, but it makes it smaller for you. I was just doing it for your convenience. That's my default view. But this looks fucking ugly, so sorry. Trying to do something nice for you. can you please, when using symbol and abbreviation, put what you mean next to it, as I'm losing most of your trades, as I'm sure others are as well. All right. This guy just did one of the most annoying things that I really hate is when people have an issue, right? Whether legitimate or not, they then start bringing other people into the fold and they make it up, right? Like, oh, others are having this issue too. When this dick rider knows 100% that he's the one with the issue. So imagine we're both taking trades and I'm taking a winning trade, right? I'm not saying every trade I take is a winning trade, but say I take a winning trade and his excuse is that he lost because I didn't verbally tell him the symbol and abbreviation, and then says others are losing too because of this. No. If you have an issue, perfectly fine. We'll try to fix the issue together. Don't fucking try to create an issue out of a non-issue and say, yes, others are having this too. I know. No, nobody's having that issue. People trade just fine. If you are if you're not an experienced trader, that's perfectly fine. And if you're like, I don't know how to read these, you know, the trade boxes in the Discord. Like if you look at the trades in the Discord, by the way, market opens in 25 minutes. But, you know, if you look at this, first of all, okay, do any of these emojis indicate that anyone's having an issue? No. If you're talking about, if you're looking at this and you don't know where the entry and exit are and you're not yet experienced with reading a chart, that's perfectly fine. All it takes is a few hours on the weekend to actually go through the alerts and try to understand what's happening, right? It's very clear where the entry is there, the exit is there, the take profit is there. All the stuff is very clear. So if you are losing, it's because you're trying to enter trades when you are not yet ready. So respectfully, don't try to pin your issue on others or me. Otherwise, I'm happy to try and help you. But you see there, that's where the symbol is. So I don't know. I'm just curious. Like if you can't read the symbol, what are you then trading? You're just taking a random trade on something because you can't read the symbol? I don't understand what the issue is. Yes, we still have divergence. There is not a trade setup. Divergence is there because ES took London low, NQ didn't. And the market opens in 23 minutes. So let's see what happens here. That divergence. Holy balls. This does look tempting, but this also looks very, very manipulative here. And we are just about outside of the macro. Any other time I'd be tempted to long this here. Which you can. You can still long this. But considering the time, it is risky. I think if you're more risk averse, you're better off waiting for market open and trying to trade the 950 macro instead. But if you do have risk tolerance, you can certainly long this. Let me see how the 2-minute closes here, because we have this fair value gap on the 2-minute. The 3-minute didn't close above, actually. So that wick probably induced a lot of people. Okay, the 2-minute just closed above. Oh, this is a big range. 894. That's about 40 points, yeah. Yeah, the 2-minute closed above. The risky long would look like this. I might take this with real money. All right. Let's see how far this goes here. I have my stop at break even. 19,950 is where I would look to take profits. That 830 can be a snag. What's ES doing? It's hitting that 5-minute gap at 830. NQ is stronger. 93875. I don't know. I'm gonna set my stop to break even. Let's just hold it and see what happens. I think it gets to at least 93875. I may adjust my take profit to that. 93875. Which is that high right there. 600. Let's go. Oh, we just hit 830 in the 5 minute. Should I take profit at 610? Let's go. 700. I'm going to book that. I'm going to book it. 700 is good enough before market open. Joe. Bam. Nice start to the day, baby. Oh, we did get to that high. And we got to the second high too. Nice. My bias says bearish, but that's why I'm the retail. Yeah, that's why you're the retail. But good news is you can learn. Who took that long? Put a W in the chat if you took the long. Most of you who are in the Discord should have already, like, I'm sure you had that trade set up already. And for those of you that are, I guess, confused by why that was a long, because I saw a lot of people saying short or bearish or whatever. I'll explain why that was a long. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, this channel is all about education. You guys heard me talk about, in the middle of, roasting haters. I was telling you that I was waiting for London low to get taken, right? If you rewind the tape, you'll see that I was patiently waiting for this to get taken. And I said that my preference would be one to get taken and the other to not, because that's what's called bullish divergence. So at the lows, when you have one making a lower low and NQ, or, if it was ES, making a higher low, that's called bullish divergence. When you have divergence at the highs, that's called bearish divergence, okay? So we have bullish divergence, took out London low, and the entry model consisted of closing above the 2 minute. If you zoom in here, there's a 2 minute gap right there. This. So we closed above it and we retraced back into it, and that was my entry. Now, my exit, at first I was targeting here, but then I saw ES get to 830 in that 5 minute, and I thought there could be bearish divergence where, and there still is bearish divergence now, where ES made a lower high, but I thought it could, because I've seen it, over time, over days do this, and we were already outside of the macro. So I didn't want to risk $700 per contract, but ES could have very well just got stuck at that 830 in the 5 minute, while NQ, made a higher high. So then I shifted my take profit to around that high, as opposed to the high that it eventually got to. That's simply it. So if you go back to the beginning of this session, obviously we were shooting the shit and whatnot, but if you cut through all of that and go to the serious analysis, I was saying that, I expected a manipulation after the data and then us to trade the other way. So I'm agnostic, right? As a day trader, I don't care which way the manipulation is. We could have manipulated up and I would have had a potentially opposite bias. But my bias was up after I saw the drop. Big Dog says this is so crooked. What? That I'm fucking teaching you? What's crooked? People will find they wipe every move out. See, if you adjust your mind frame to knowing that, but being excited when you see it as opposed to pissed, that might help you in your journey to become a more successful trader, right? As opposed to complaining, like what is this doing to you? Wow, this is so crooked. They wipe every move out. What does that mean? So what? That's how the market works, right? Like, I wouldn't be able to sit here and tell you exactly what I'm looking for, and then it happen, and then me trade whatever I told you. It's because if you know that that's going to happen, then you try to frame a trade around it, right? So I told you since the beginning of the stream, I said, looking for manipulation. Oh, we're going down? Cool. Now I'm looking for London low to get taken while NQ doesn't get taken, right? What happened? ES took out London low, NQ didn't. Cool, we have divergence. Oh, I'm looking to see if we close above the 2-minute fair value gap, because that would be a sign that we're going to the next internal liquidity zone, right? We close above the 2-minute. And I said, yes, it's an aggressive entry. Take it if you have the risk. Aggressive entry taken, took out the next liquidity zone. Like, you can study this as opposed to complaining about it. And I feel like that slight mindset shift will make you a better trader if you're interested in becoming a better trader as opposed to just sitting back and complaining. But if you guys have any questions about that setup, any further questions, let me know. Was it an IFVG? Yes. So this is a fair value gap, and we traded through it and closed above it. It becomes an IFVG. But the important thing is you don't want to trade every IFVG, right? Most IFVGs don't mean anything. What we wait for is the IFVG as a potential entry model only after we get a manipulative move that takes out a major liquidity level, and most preferably if you have divergence, meaning one index takes out the liquidity and the other one doesn't, right? That sets up a nice trade. Now, this is an aggressive entry, so there are slower entries, right? There are much more slower entries that don't require you to look at the 1 minute or the 2 minute. Like, you can trade 5 minute or 15 minute entries, completely different trade setup. But if you're looking for a faster model that could be riskier, allows you to think quicker on your feet, requires you to set up your stops a lot faster, what I just gave you is a framework for a lower time frame entry. But all of the things that I talked about have to be in place. So watch the stream later. It's going to be on YouTube. You can watch it and rewind it for this explanation. But do not trade every inverted gap. You are going to get killed doing that. If you want a faster model, get the Model S. What do you think about letting me fine-tune a LLM based on all your video transcripts and we create a virtual version of you? I mean, half of it is going to be shit talking and jokes. Yeah, do it. Sure. You don't need my permission. My stuff is publicly on YouTube. That would be one of the funniest things ever. Half of it's going to be the most honest trading and finance education that you've heard, and the other half is going to be all shit talking. Might be entertaining. I don't know. What part was the manipulation? The manipulative move was the initial move after the data drop, right? Because what what institutions, market makers, all they're looking for is liquidity. They don't care about direction. They're like, where can we exploit the most liquidity, right? So in order to go long, you need a bunch of sell orders. So if selling can be induced, right? Like, oh my God, PCE came in slightly hotter than expected. Oh shit, the market's gonna go to hell, right? And at some point, all these sell orders are being picked up below London low. You probably have a lot of sell orders as well, right? People trying to go long, setting their stop limits here. So the theory goes that the real move will come after all of the sell orders are, not all, will come after there are so many sell orders in the market that can then be used to fuel a move in the other direction, right? Now, it is more theoretical because when I see, for instance, a huge wick below London low, right? That to me makes much more sense that there's a lot of buy stops resting under here. When I see a tiny wick below London low like this, I can't imagine that there are so many buy stops that are that close to London low. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the theory to me makes a lot more sense. I don't think it's that black and white, because the theory makes a lot more sense if you see a huge wick there, because then I'm like, oh, okay, it took out all the buy stops from everyone that was going along off this double bottom and set their stop here in the form of sell orders, right? These all got taken to fuel a rally up. But when you see such a shallow tag of buy stops, the theory doesn't quite fit exactly. So I think it's not as black and white. I think there's a lot of algorithmic stuff going on at these major levels that help fuel manipulation, counter moves, etc. It's not as simple as, oh, the dum-dums have all their stops here, right? Because when I see such a shallow tag into London low like that, I can't imagine that there's that many buy stops that are within one take of London low, right? If you're going to buy London low to take it long, you're going to set your stop like pretty far below that, or at least further than what this indicates. Anyway, why is London low so important as a level? Because each session has its highs and lows, and the theory goes that there is a lot of liquidity and algorithmic programming that is targeting those highs and lows at those levels, right? I mean, I think a lot of it goes back to the introduction of electronic trading in the market. Before that, I don't know that things were that definitive, if that makes sense. Would you be interested in trading QQQ today? I don't day trade options. I think day trading options is a sucker's bet. And secondly, you can't even day trade options before the market opens. So you wouldn't have even been able to take that trade unless you traded futures. Or you can trade like TQQQ or SQQQ, like the actual commons of leveraged ETFs, but you can't trade options off hours. How would you think about QQQ or SP500 today given this futures trade? Every trade is its own. I don't think about it unless another trade sets up. SPX options trade. Dude, the market is not even open yet. Chill. 2 minutes. Nice TP spot. Yeah, that's why I TP'd there, albeit a little early, but you're never going to get it right. It's just the theory is there, right? like I knew that we still might manipulate one more time before market open, and we had that bearish divergence. It happened a little bit higher than I thought, but still, you had a lower high there and a higher high on NQ, right? So just like we have bullish divergence at the open, at 8:30, we have bearish divergence here. But if you're trading like the 5-minute and under charts, you're gonna see this flip back and forth: bullish divergence, bearish divergence, bullish divergence, bearish divergence. Thoughts on TLT for small portion of bonds? What does small portion of bonds mean? TLT is just a placeholder, bro. If you can't stomach the risk of stocks this year, TLT is just a placeholder. You're not gonna get rich trading TLT. It's just a placeholder where you're going to collect 5% on your money, potentially make some from the appreciation of bonds. If and when the Fed, bond prices, if and when the Fed cuts rates. It's not like you're going to make money like you would if you traded something risky like Tesla. I mean, my assets? Bro, I have no idea who you are. How do I know what your assets are, dude? All right, market just opened. Let's see if we can catch another trade. Freedom Chaser, appreciate you, man. Thank you. All right, I saw hella donations before that fat ass fucking trade. I didn't see any after. All right, where NQ was stronger before the open, ES is now stronger. No, Kempo-san, people act like I'm their portfolio manager. I have no idea what your assets are. How do I know? Like, at some point, do some research so that you're not asking a random person on the internet for advice on your portfolio. So yeah, I don't know what your assets are. And I think TLT is good. If you don't want to engage in a risky market, I think it's a little late. I'll tell you that. I think that the time to start rotating out of stocks was a while ago. I don't think the time to rotate out of stocks is at a minus 10% support. Ole, thank you for your donation, man. Thank you so much. All right. Now what I'm trying to find from a trading perspective, I'm trying to find where, oh, okay, that divergence is good on the 1 hour. How to start learning? Bro. You know what? I'll be 100% honest with you. I'll be 100% honest with you. You're cooked, bro. You are not a candidate. I'll save you the time and agony and thousands of dollars of losses. I'll tell you right now. There are people that want to take this seriously, and I can usually tell who they are. Like there's my guy on here. He changed his name to CK Premium 1992, but I think his name is Cam. That dude has been watching the videos, asking questions, learning quietly. And I've seen that dude turn into a really good trader by locking in and paying attention. If you're really going to ask, like, how do I start learning? You're cooked. Just close your brokerage account or whatever. Just put it all in SPY, close your laptop, go have fun in life. Go find something to do. And I'm being 100% honest, like no malice, no judgment. It's for some people, and those people, you're not included in those people. All right, so what I'm looking for now, guys, is I want to see whether we have a area of liquidity that we can draw to. Like we had the morning, the London low in the morning. And that still hasn't been breached again, by the way, on ES. NQ, I think, okay, NQ just took out. We might have another long. This is going to be a whipsaw, actually. When you say London, which ticker? It applies to futures and Forex, but I don't trade Forex. But it applies to futures and Forex. So in this case, me personally, I trade mostly NQ, but I look at ES to help formulate a bias or a narrative. I typically don't trade ES. It's just a little too slow for me. It's not bad. If you trade ES, you can stay trading ES. It's my preferred pair is NQ, but I do look at ES for things like divergence, etc. But I know that the London low, Asia high, that also applies to Forex. I just don't trade Forex. Appreciate you, Ronald Madge. What's your take on the 200 MA on SPY? Right now, what I'm doing now is called day trading. What you're talking about is a swing, right? So a swing trade lasts for days/weeks. A day trade, I'm trying to read a much lower time frame chart to go in and out. So if you're asking me if I'm looking at moving averages here, no. Yeah, I think there's another long here. I trade YM. Yeah, YM is a good pair. I mean, you know, over time you're gonna know what you trade. Like I know someone that trades RTY a lot. I know someone that trades gold, only gold, right? But you're gonna, I don't want to say fall in love, but you're gonna get used to certain pairs, charts and price action. Thanks for the suggestions. I will do my own research. Dude, if you ask me something specific, I'll answer you. If you say, how do I learn? How can I answer that? How do you learn anything? You just fucking start Googling. Like, and you see where it takes you. It's just, it boggles my mind. Look, how to start day trading. I'm having trouble knowing where to start. And then go from there. Read this. Take a couple hours out of your weekend and go from there. I can't answer how do you start. You just start Googling shit until you make progress on your knowledge base. How do you start learning how to golf? Or how do you start playing poker? Do you use any of the AI tool for trading signals? No, bro. If I needed trading signals at this point in my career, I would quit. But I do use, it is a good question. I do use AI for, like, if I have something in mind, like for instance, let me think of something very specific. Okay, here's something very specific. This is the way that I use, not for signals, but for research, right? So if I want to know how many 10% corrections has the S&P 500 had, right? This is amazing because it will spit out the facts. And it will tell you that the S&P 500, there have been at least 36 double-digit corrections in the S&P 500, right? And then if I want to say how many of those 10% corrections turned into 20% or more bear markets. There you go, right? It will spit out all the facts for you, and it will even tell you the years of the bear markets, you know? So yes, I do now use LLMs in order to look up data. I will never use them to try to find a trade signal. I think if you're trying to do that, I think it's a little bit lazy because in my view, trading is the only thing that won't be replaced by AI. You have to have discretion. And that discretion only comes from years of experience. What's your favorite AI? I like Grok. I think Grok is, to me, I've gotten the best answers regarding those types of questions out of Grok over ChatGPT. In what way not replaced by AI? I mean, I think human beings will still be required to make money trading. That's what I mean. So even institutions that have algorithms, right? The BlackRocks, the JP Morgans, it's not like they have robots sitting in a room. There's still hella people there that are using all that data to formulate a competitive bias and to take trades in a discretionary fashion. You guys are conflating algorithms with AI. We've had algorithms in trading since the 90s. And they continue to grow and get better. I'm not talking about algorithms. I'm saying there will always be human beings required at these institutions. It's not like, you know, you could see a world in which cashiers and drivers get replaced completely. I'm saying in trading, that's not going to be the case. All right, let's see if we can close above 8:30 in this 5-minute gap. I think that could formulate a breakout. You're welcome, Joshua. Nope. It's probably going to chop around for at least the next 10 minutes. Let me look at some equities real quick. So Tesla here. This may look nice, actually. Hold on. Oh, Tesla may look like a long here. If we can get above 930 and retest it, I think Tesla can be a long. but we have to close above this. And this right here is 930. So if we can get above the opening print and retest the opening print, I think there's a long. But I wouldn't long it just yet. Because just as easily on Tesla, if we don't close above that, we can reject off this fair value gap. But what is that blue level that I drew? Oh, yeah. This is a major level on Tesla. I'm going to set an alert here at 9:30 on Tesla. If we can get there, I will consider a long. I'll probably buy next week's calls at the money. Google looks like shit. Nvidia's just wicking around. Net result is flat. No trade on here. I was contemplating longing AMD, but then it looked weak to me. Like we were going to go below that level that I was eyeing for a long and, you know, fake out this huge trend line that everybody probably longed here, thinking this was the breakout. Looks super weak here. Do all time frame FVGs hold the same weight? No. Anything on a higher time frame is going to last longer. Amazon, I mean, this does look like potential head and shoulders here. If Amazon drops more, this will be a stock that I'm really looking at. Because historically, one second. All right, sorry. Okay. So right now, Amazon's trading at a 36 PE, which as of recent memory is cheap, right? It trades normally at around 50, 3-year average, 55 for 5-year average. But the 15-year average is 25. So if Amazon drops to the 20s, like say that this head and shoulders confirms and Amazon drops to the 20s in terms of PE, which would put it, I think, around the 170. I can't believe this idiot was pardoned. This fucking fraudster. Yeah, if we fall to like 180, 170, for sure, Amazon is a screaming buy. For sure, for sure. It'd be cheaper than it has been in a very long time. Tesla could form a head and shoulders. Yes, this is something that I highlighted as well. So if Tesla doesn't bounce from this very important level here, then it can form a head and shoulders. This is something I highlighted in my last video. But say Tesla keeps going up, there is no more head and shoulders. So if Tesla can escape this and get to near the 100-day moving average, then it's no longer a head and shoulders. Bear market is possible. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Bear market is possible. I still think we see a little bit more rallying here, a week or two. But my base case, if you watch my videos, is that we make a lower low to that. Sasha, SPY calls at break even. If you didn't have a lot of calls, I told you should exit yesterday for profit. If you had a lot of calls, you should have taken partials. All right. So in terms of a trade right now, for those just joining, already took a nice banger long on NQ, which looks like the only optimal trade so far. So the long that we took was this pre-market, and we've just been chopping ever since. Now, when you chop like this, I do think obviously we will break out of this today. I don't think it's going to be chop city in this tight of a range. But a lot of times when you chop around like this, you tend to get a big move during lunch, right? Like in 12 p.m. Eastern. So if we chop around like this, watch out for 12 p.m. because that's typically when you'll get a breakout move. I think let me see. What is healthcare looking like here? Not low enough yet. Yeah, the one scariest chart to me, and I've told you guys this before, is the semiconductors chart. This to me looks like it's already in a bear market. And we just had the 100-day cross below, or the what is this? Yeah, the 100-day cross below the 300-day. And we were coiling for a long time. And as I said, this looks very reminiscent to me of 2022, where this is just going to start falling. And I think that that would be the potential, not catalyst, but that would help fuel a bear market, is if semiconductors, which have been a very big reason why the market's been going up the last 2 years, that would bring the entire market down with it, right? Like if you see AMD in the 60s, if you see NVIDIA trading in the 80s, right? That's gonna bring the market down with it. Like Tesla can fall 50% and the market be okay, but the semis cannot, being the main story of the last 2.5 years, cannot drop like that and not bring the market down with it. We do have more news coming out, right? Consumer sentiment in 7 minutes. I'll be right back. We're going to cover that too. I'll be right back. 1 second.
$3,300 and $3,500 at Goldman and B of A. Meantime, Dow's down 236. We'll take a short break. Be back in a minute. Time for Jim and Stop Trading.
Well, my Charbel owns a company. It's just, I think, one of the best restaurant chains in America. It's going regional and national. Peter Lynch, listen up, one of the great investors of all time, Texas Roadhouse. And Wedbush comes out today and says you got to buy it. There had been a problem. February had been slow. March has been a reacceleration, and it's completely ignored. This is just a great piece of research. We've been waiting for this to happen. Also, step up in share repurchase. I think those who have gone to a Texas Roadhouse for $11, you get one of the greatest meals ever. And it starts with these great cinnamon rolls. They have dancing there by the waitresses and waiters, and steak.
So this week, upgrades of Wing, Bros, and Roadhouse.
Both, but you know what? That says value, value, and value. And the American people want value. They're choiceful.
The hell is you guys talking about Texas Roadhouse? Spy of 564. Okay. Thank you for your donation, Sedano. Man, are we gonna break out of this range? Right now, I'm in New York. All right, we have consumer sentiment in 1 minute. Let's see if CNBC covers it. How many monitors do you use? One. Oh man, we have equal lows on NQ.
In the meantime, trying to juggle that with some inflation data as the S&P's struggling a bit to hold on to gains for the week.
Busy Friday. Good to be here. Thank you all for joining us. We are 30 minutes into this trading session. Here are three movers that we're watching. Shares of Lululemon dropping, trading below 300 for the first time since November. Now, a slew of analyst downgrades and price cuts following the company's latest earnings and outlook. We'll break all of that down this hour. And a volatile 24 hours for shares of AppLovin after a short seller, Muddy Waters, raised concerns over the company's ad technology, claiming they're breaking Google and Apple's App Store rules. Keep an eye on the foreign autos, adding to yesterday.
They're not talking about consumer sentiment. Let's see here. Revised consumer sentiment, slightly lower than expected. 57 versus 57.9. Oh, let's see.
In Michigan, Carl, these are the final numbers for March. We had the mid-month numbers, and there has been some movement. We've gone from 57.9 to 57.0 on the headline. That remains the weakest confidence headline number since Nova of 22. If we look at the current conditions, it moved from 63.5 up to 63.8. Still remains the weakest since SEP of 24. Now, if we look at expectations, moves from 54.2 to 52.6. That would be the weakest going back to, wow, July of 22. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The last look on inflation really ramped up. The 1 year hit 4.9. It moved up again to 5%. 5%. That equals where it was in November 22. You have to go to July 22 to find a higher rate of inflation. Finally, 5 to 10-year inflation. Our last look, it jumped up to 3.9. It jumped again to 4.1. Equals where we were, get this, in Feb of 93. To find a higher number, you're in August of 92. Now, these numbers are squishy inflation numbers. They're based on surveys, and the market really isn't moving much on interest rates yet. Remember that these numbers were somewhat expected based on the mid-month read, but definitely something to pay very close attention to. Remember, 10 years closed at 4.25 last week, so they're still at 429, up 4 basis points, but they're down 7 on the day. David, back to you.
All right, Rick Santelli, thank you. Let's turn our focus now to a very important IPO we've been talking about for a couple of days. It has priced at $40 a share. I'm talking about CoreWeave, of course. A provider of compute, essentially, in the form of really the latest NVIDIA chips and what they're able to do in terms of putting all of this stuff in a data center, who then have clients amongst, obviously, the largest companies in the country with the best credit ratings as well, led by Microsoft, which represented as much as 62% of the company's revenues in 2024. The raise here, about $1.5 billion. It did come well below what was the expected range. Remember, it was 47 to 55, downsized in size to 37.5 million shares, down in price as well to 40, but still the largest tech IPO we've seen in the U.S. at least since 2021. I outlined on Wednesday some of the key questions around the company, of course, the depreciation schedule in terms of those GPUs, its enormous CapEx needs, its very large debt load. But the other big question is simply about demand and these continued concerns as to whether that demand for compute will ever slow from the Microsofts, the Metas, the Alphabets, the OpenAIs of the world. And that continues to be a question, obviously. In an interview earlier on CNBC, the company's CEO said they see no let up in demand. And frankly, I continue to hear that from any number of the companies that are their customers, including OpenAI, which just put out a new image generator yesterday, Courtney, and fried a lot of GPUs in the process and needs endless amounts of compute. That said, there's still this sort of other question as to what the lifespan is of a GPU and whether they're depreciating them properly and what that really would look like for cash flow if that changed significantly. If, for example, Hopper, as Jensen Huang recently said, was worthless in a couple of years, that might impact what things look like as well.
When obviously all the DeepSeek news came and sort of...
All right. Just trying to find an optimal trade here after the consumer sentiment news. We do have that right there is the data low now because that news was at 10 a.m. So I want to see that 10 a.m. low get taken out on at least one of them. NQ looks closer to the data low. So let's see what happens here. Everything was priced in. Nothing is happening. It's so funny how different people will have different opinions. I mean, NASDAQ is almost down 1% today. I would say something is happening. Yeah, I sold Nike already after taking a look at its numbers. I did a write-up in the Discord about why I don't like Nike. Ark, thank you for your donation. I want to see if I can get a second trade here for us to match the beautiful trade that we took in the morning. It has nothing to do with tariffs. Nike growth is in the toilet. Previous week's low? Oh man, that would be so brutal. I mean, there are equal lows there. So, yeah. There are equal lows there. I think gold made a new all-time high today. You guys are talking about running shoe brands and not businesses. I don't care what's a better shoe. Look at the actual business. What is the draw here? Yeah, I think whoever said it earlier, I think is right. We have these equal lows here. I think that could be the draw. By the way, NQ has the same shit. Holy moly. Right there. That's the draw. We might need to find a trade to take us to there. Let's see. That's the draw on ES, 5650, 0.75, and the draw on NQ, 19603.75. So that's another 150-ish points on NQ. What are your chances of a market ripping face so hard? The fuck language is this? What are your chances of a market ripping face so hard that we all go blind in 7 days? I don't know what this guy's trying to say. I want to see if we can get a trade down to that low right there. Down here. I think there could be a short in gold, which is crazy because it's up 1.75%. It would only be a scalp. But I think it's tough here. I mean, there's midnight and there's equal highs right there. So not yet a short for me. I think we can bounce off midnight and take out these equal highs. You just bought calls? I don't think this is... Well, is it like a day trade? Pretty funny that we made money longing the market today. That was my trade pre-market. Oil looks interesting here. I don't trade pre-market options. I was trading futures. Okay, we're going to get to 56.51 on ES. And 19.604 on NQ. So I wish it gives me a trade to get there.
Issue. I want to update you now. We have some pardons here by the President of the United States today. The President has issued a pardon for Nikola founder Trevor Milton. You remember Milton was the former CEO of Nikola. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. He's been free, though, pending an appeal. His crimes allegedly were related to defrauding investors with misrepresentations about the electric vehicle company that he ran. I asked the White House for an explanation for this. They don't have one yet. I'm also told that there are a series of other pardons that the president has made recently that may be coming out here in a couple of moments. We don't have the names of any other folks who've been pardoned by the president just yet, but the headline here is that President Trump has pardoned Nikola founder Trevor Milton. We'll wait for the list of others to see if there are any other CEOs who had been sentenced who are being pardoned by the president this morning. Milton, we should point out, is a significant donor to the Trump campaign. Meanwhile, switching to that law firm story that we had talked about, the law firm Jenner & Block has filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration this morning, alleging the president's executive order targeting the firm is an unconstitutional abuse of power. In a statement, Jenner & Block said, "Our Constitution, top to bottom, forbids attempts by the government to punish citizens and lawyers based on the clients they represent, the positions they advocate, the opinions they voice, and the people with whom they associate." Jenner & Block employs Andrew Weissman, who was a lead prosecutor on Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Now, the suit comes at
I think there might be a big short opportunity coming on Palantir. You couldn't figure out how I'm helping people or trying to grow my base because I haven't taken a trade past the first winning trade that we took? This idiot is complaining because he's been sitting here for an hour and I haven't taken a trade, a second trade. This guy, Bill M, market, life, and everything in between. Bro, these are the types of songs that you're saving. This is Bill M's personal playlist. Bro is mad because he's been sitting here for an hour and he doesn't understand how trading works. Yeah, I'm not surprised, bro. I'm not surprised. Why are you here then? Go somewhere else. The fuck are you gonna do with that kind of music? Homeboy's got that West Hollywood trading playlist. he trades with glow sticks. How's that relevant? I don't know. Maybe because you decided to open your fat fucking mouth. If I'm not helping you, bro, exit. Feel free to exit, bro. Go ahead. Get off the stream. Break open a couple of new glow sticks. Turn off the lights in your apartment. And start playing your playlist. That's a better use of your time. $19,679. I think that the draw is lower than that, and I'm just trying to find an entry to there. This right here, bro. This is where I think the draw is. Unfortunately, I mean, we did get the optimal pre-market trade, but unfortunately, since the market opened, it just hasn't been optimal PA, right? It's just been death. And then consumer sentiment came out and it's more death. I do think that once we hit that target, and this does look like a big ass PO3, by the way, but I think the draw is lower. Obviously, would love if one of them took the equal lows and the other didn't, creating that divergence, but I think that's where it's going. PO3 stands for power of three. You have consolidation, manipulation, and then hopefully distribution. But this right here looks like consolidation and then manipulation. Now, the market obviously could turn around on Friday. Would not be surprised, especially we have the tariffs coming next week. But it could also be a bear trap setup for next week's tariffs, right? But if you look at the daily chart, we've just been in this range since the beginning of March. Have I looked at the Dixie? I'm not trading the dollar, yeah, but I look at it with relation to what's going on with gold most of the time. I do think there's a potential long on oil coming up. So we took out London low on oil. And I think there's a potential here. But we need to close above this. Shorting Tesla. It could be. But Tesla would have to in my opinion, break below this level and then retest it. I think sitting at major support is not a good short, in my opinion. You still think we're going to be trending lower? Yeah, I think my overall thesis remains. I did think, and still possible, right? But I did think that whatever relief rally we had could chop around for a couple of weeks before dropping. And obviously, we could see a counter trade back up into this range during the tariffs. But yes, my overall thesis was that we go lower. I don't think, like I said in my last video, I don't think that this is the low. I think we go lower. Yeah, I think this. Like I said, I think this has a chance to turn into a bear market for sure. What are your thoughts on Michael Huddlestone? The fuck is that? There's still a gap underneath the equal lows for mid-March. Maybe, but I think the equal lows are enough of a draw because they're last week's low. Fuck. And see, NQ is already there. And ES is right here. All right, maybe we take a trade here. Michael Huddlestone is ICT. Michael Huddlestone is the father of ICT. That's his real name? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think ICT concepts are legit. I think they're 100% legit. I use quite a few of them. All right, man, just rip the Band-Aid off. One of you get down here. Lululemon tumbles on weak guidance. That's yet another stock that has weak guidance. So far it's Nike, weak guidance, Lululemon, weak guidance. Was it one of the retailers? Was it Target or Walmart? I don't know. Are we ripping absolute faces? Who said something about ripping faces? That's the second or third comment talking about that. Is that Tom Lee? Did Tom Lee said face ripping? Is that why you guys keep saying that? Ripping face is a Gen Z term? No, it's a market term, right? Face melting rally or face ripping rally. But I don't know why people are mentioning it here. It looks like there was some influencer commentary about a face ripping rally. Wall Street Bets said there would be a face-ripping rally. All right. Bro, this is just straight death. You are correct, an influencer said this. Who? I'm going to set, oh, I do have an alert there. Do I have an alert on NQ? No. I'm going to put an alert here. One of them is going to take out that level. That may be true. Amit Cook, what? Cuck Reja? Who the fuck is that? Man, thank God I did not long AMD. All right, so I think NQ just tapped that level. Do you hedge your long-term portfolio? Yeah, of course. I sold calls on Monday and Tuesday. But also I got quite a bit in bonds. But I've been in bonds for a couple months now. You can hear that honking? Oh my God. Just give me an entry. Are you going to close your 5? Bro, I already closed it a while ago. Are you half Italian? No. Okay. NQ just tapped those equal lows. Oh my God. Look at this shit. What do you think about trendline trading? I think it's fine if you I think any strategy is fine. If you manage your risk, I think all strategies can work. Support resistance, trendline, ICT, any of that shit will work. Tesla's down 3%, AMD 3%, Amazon 3%, Meta 3%. It's not just Tesla.
Asia are searching for.
All right. We got to that level now. Let's see what happens here. Do you think we'll see new all-time highs? No. If you watch my videos, you know that's not what I think. Okay. Massive power of 3 into that major liquidity level we took out last week's low. Would not be surprised to see a little bit of a retrace here. Did we recover fully? I would say that, wait, when is April 2nd? What's today? 28, 29, 30, 31. April 2nd is a Tuesday, right? And there's a lot of negativity around that. I think that could be a contrarian day. I don't think that's going to be, I think a lot of people are looking at that day like, oh, that's the end of the world. I think it's really priced in. Yeah, it's on Wednesday. That's true. All right, give me, if I can get a unicorn setup, I will take it. I think oil is along here. The more aggressive a movement is, the more conservative of an entry you need. So while I would love to take a very risky entry here on NQ long, I need much more confirmation than this. Even though this is a nice liquidity level, one that we've certainly been eyeing for, I don't know, an hour now, but there just wasn't an entry. I need like a nice 5-minute unicorn entry. Man. Take it. It's going up. Bro, you cannot take this trade. Look, if you want to rush into the trade, guys, you can rush into it. I'm not going to. I've been around this game long enough. You cannot take an aggressive entry on this type of day. You just can't. Like, if you look at this candle, we're talking about a 310-point candle. You fucking crazy? You can't just blindly long that. I think the trade that I want to take is on oil at some point. Not yet. But oil has the best setup. Appreciate it, Niraj. What a boring day. I'll be 100% honest with you. If I wasn't live on YouTube, I would have already been done for the day. Like, we made the A+ trade pre-market. And I would have just been done. But because it happened pre-market, and I had just started the stream, I couldn't just sign off after 10 minutes. What I want to see is I want to see a break of market structure and a closure, and then a retest of that breaker. I cannot front run an entry here. That's just retarded. If you trade pre-market, do you trade differently? No, it's the same principles. You can rewind the stream. I took the trade on stream. No, I don't. It's not growing my base, dude. These live streams don't grow my base. The recorded videos with a bunch of data that grows the channel. The live streams don't grow the channel. It's the same people watching over and over again. I'm here just because for you guys. Look, if you look at the analytics of the live stream, you can see that the live streams, like this live stream I was on for 2 hours and I got 8 subscribers. And if you compare that to a video, let's just take the last video for shits and gaggles. Right? The last video, I got 500 subscribers from one video. So no, these live streams, and plus all my live streams are donations anyway. This is literally just for you guys. Are we going down or are we ripping faces? My God, I need to market this face ripping thing that you guys are on. I'm going to make a hat that says face ripper. It's like traders can't talk without hyperbole, right? They can't make sensible statements. Traders can't just say, oh, are we going to crawl upwards or are we going to stair step down? It's always like, we're either going to tank or we're going to rip some fucking faces. There's no in between, right? I'll get comments on my channel. If I'm like, oh, I think, we might, there's a chance for more downside. People will say, I'm loading the boat on calls. Or, oh, I think we'll get a little bit of a rally. Too bad I just went all in on puts. I loaded the boat on puts. Like, there's no measure. There's no like, oh, I bought a few puts. Or I bought a few calls. It's always like, just max everything. Max hyperbole. There's no trade yet, guys. There's absolutely no trade. We've just been sitting down here. You guys need to learn how to sit on your hands. I feel like a lot of you would be more profitable. Like the few of you that complain about how boring the stream is, it's because this is how a trading day looks, minus the shit talking. It's waiting around, taking a setup, securing $700, $800 per contract, closing that, looking for another trade setup, sitting on your hands if there isn't one. That's what a trading day looks like. Trading is like fishing. Yeah, I'm not a fisher, but I can imagine how long you have to wait for that motherfucker to catch on the hook. People think that activity equals profitability. Activity equals going fucking broke. Okay? Hunting is what's profitable. That was a pathetic bounce off the RELs. No one said you're going to bounce off the RELs. You're looking at where's the draw on liquidity. The draw on liquidity happens, right? Now you're looking for a trade setup to form. If the trade setup doesn't form, you don't have a trade. We need to talk, says, all right, Bear Grylls. You know who else has Bear in their nickname? We need to talk. You guessed it. Your mother. They call her the neighborhood bear. One of many names. Some people call her the Revenant. We need to talk says, is it because she's black? Bro, how the fuck am I supposed to know? I don't give a fuck if you're black or brown or whatever. She could be a brown bear. She could be a fucking white bear, for all I know. I don't know. I just know they call her the bear. There are brown bears or black bears. There are white bears. There are even black and white bears. This motherfucker trying to race bait me. All right. CL getting closer to a setup here. Gummy bears? Yeah, there's even gummy bears. And those come in all kinds of colors. All right. There isn't anything that I really want to take here. Juan, appreciate your donation. Thank you, bro. There isn't something that I really want to take here besides maybe oil if it sets up. I do think lunch might give us a break out of this range on the indices in about an hour. And that's really all. Like, had a nice trade today. Funny enough, the trades were made on longs and not shorts. Pre-market. Ever since what came out at 10, consumer confidence. Ever since consumer confidence, just been straight death. I do think that this is still going to be volatile. I personally don't think that it's going to be straight death until next week. I do think that it is going to be more volatile, as I said. For those asking whether I think the market put in a low, if you guys watch my videos, you know I do not think that is the market low. I think the market is going lower, for sure. And yeah, I do think there is a very high chance of a recession, like I said, because the White House is trying to engineer one. They said so a million times. Between Bessent and Trump, right? So I have to take them at their word that that is what they're going for in order to try to bring down yields. That is my ultimate thesis, right? My longer term thesis. But I do think there's an opportunity for us to potentially come back up here. I never ever thought that all-time highs was going to be tested this year. So that is still not my thesis. I think that, I did think that, if I'm honest, I did think that we would bounce from here. Now we're just playing in the fringes, right? But I did think we would bounce from here and create something like this before going back down. And I still think that's possible, but, today, obviously with PCE and with consumer confidence, this is a huge red day for sure. Day's still not over. We could recover quite a bit here, especially since we took last week's low. But, evidently my main thesis is that we go lower for sure. Everything they can't do, really interesting, illegal, doing it anyway. What? Laying off people and cutting spending? Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think they can do that. Explain a bit of the setup you're looking for here. What setup? Do you think the market recovers today? I think it could recover a bit today, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's Friday, right? Most of the turnarounds that we have seen do happen on Fridays or Mondays, right? But do I think we have enough juice to turn green? Certainly possible. I don't think it's likely, but I do think we can recover a bit. For those of you in the Discord, I will see you guys in the Discord. If you want to join, click the link in the description. Nice win earlier in the day, although it seems like forever ago because it happened 2 hours ago now, and haven't taken a trade since, but that's perfectly fine. Any swings that I'll take, I'll send out in the Discord as well, and any more day trades I take, I'll send it out. But that's pretty much it. Been really boring ever since 10 a.m., and that's perfectly fine. That's how the market goes sometimes. I think we might get a nice entry in the PM session, but all right, guys, I'll catch you.